What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of View for Summertime Rendering. This is episode 23, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
hmm so picking up after the last episode, we find out that there is like a third Shide that emerges after, I guess, there were two other Shides that ended up getting killed after the last episode. And of course, we also see Heine, who eventually gets reduced to like a toddler and then just de-ages back into a fetus without any eyes.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I kind of it kind of lost me at some points. I know, like in the last episode, of course, Ushio punches the wall, and I guess somehow that's connected to Heine or something, and because she showed up as a child in her child form, and then she in this episode is reduced to this like a baby.
Yeah.
And then somehow, of course, Shide is not dead, and they kind of explain later in the episode. I guess it has something to do with Heine providing him the armor, and so that's how he's able to come back. And if they get rid of they get rid of Heine, or at least this form of her, then he will not be able to come back or something. Yeah, it's kind of like so much stuff happening at once. I mean, of course, yeah, like Spade said, it picks up right where the last episode left off. Shide comes back and basically decides, of course, like Heine comes back into this baby form. Then Shide eventually decides to retreat into further into the cave. Like it looks like he just kind of slashes through that form of Heine as well as the cave wall, and the cave wall turns into this opening that he goes through, and I guess it is a portal to the Shadow Realm, which was referenced before. So he just retreats into that, and of course Shinpei tries. Well, he gets like sucked into this hole, and Ushio like tries to save him. And this is where like he decides to he has this conversation with Ryunosuke or something. And I forget exactly what it was, but basically this turns into another like a confession scene where I guess because Shinpei figures he might die, so he decides to confess to Ushio about how he feels. And then they both decide to go together into I guess the Shadow Realm, leaving everybody else behind. And then of course we pick up where Shinpei is like separated from Ushio, and he wakes up in the Shadow Realm, which is called Tokoyo. And
it's more of like an alternate version of the island that they're staying at.
Yeah.
So, and of course, Ushio and Shinpei are both separated from one another, and of course, what happens is Shinpei's leg is completely messed up due to the fact that Ryunosuke took over his body on several occasions. So he allows Ryunosuke to fully take control of his body, while Shinpei's consciousness is pretty much in the back burner. And of course we do get like a bit of a conversation between the two, like talking about particularly how old Ryunosuke is, and how Shinpei actually treats him like he's an older person, considering that both Ryunosuke and his sister are both the same age, but technically Ryunosuke to him, like, he's still a young kid.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess Ryunosuke still sees himself that way. So he's not, I guess, comfortable being referred to with honorifics or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is basically just to sort of, I guess, develop Ryunosuke some more, and the relationship between the relationship that now exists between him and Shinpei. Yeah, but it's kind of like we're getting close to the end of the series, and I felt like it was like I kind of personally felt like this should have been done a little bit earlier. but it's just like I guess I don't mind that they're doing it, but it's like I felt like this is something that should have happened a little bit earlier on before we get to, because we're getting pretty close to the end now, and it's like now they're deciding to kind of I guess develop Ryunosuke a little bit more, and also just the friendship between him and Shinpei.
Yeah, I mean they did talk to each other, like at least in the one scene before when they were introduced to each other, but it was just mostly like Shinpei talking with Hizuru for a majority of that time, or whenever. But like for Ryunosuke to just suddenly just come out right now, it's just I mean I would have liked to see a little bit more of Ryunosuke, but I think it's like, yeah, like you said, it's like we're I think we were down to like the last 3 episodes of the show already. Yeah. But I did like where that they tried to attempt to develop the friendly relationship between Ryunosuke and Shinpei right now. But yeah, so eventually they do track down Ushio, which they first see. Well, actually no, the first thing they go into town, which I would assume is like somewhere around the World War II era.
Well, okay, so it isn't at first, I guess. Like it's because it happens later, and apparently it's something that's related to Heine's memories, because of course she's lived for so long. So I guess Shide decides to use her memories of World War II, and so that's why those fighter jets or those planes appear. But yeah, of course, the other shadows that live there aren't hostile towards Shinpei and Ryunosuke. But then, of course, and then they eventually come across Ushio, whose, I guess, personality, her she's like threatened to be overwritten by Heine or something. But then I guess the two of them like merge together. And then like, Ushio is telling Shinpei that this Heine is not, doesn't wish to harm them or something. She just wants to talk.
Yes.
So then the Heine like splits off from herself and pretty much explains to them that I'm seriously trying to wrap my head around this. Basically, so there's the original Heine, like, which is like, I guess was just her. She has like, basically explains she has some kind of a split personality. Like, the eye that's split off from herself is, I guess the evil one, and then but she's the original or something. Like,
okay. So I'm
yeah.
No, I'm guessing like the eye that's split out of Heine is the good Heine, while which in turn, like,
is that why it shows up with in Shinpei and Ushio when like they have her eyes or something, like, because that's her good side or her good personality.
Yeah. So Ushio and Shinpei's right eye are both like I guess the essence of the good Heine, while like the baby Heine we see with Shide is the more evil personality.
Yeah, I got that much. Because he's still like pretty much using that Heine for his own ends.
Mm-hmm. And there's also a reason why Shide is interested in like getting Ushio's eye. It's because like he wants to use it to control the world, or actually just pull the plug on the entire world and then just completely end it all.
He basically wants to end the world, and I guess like he wants to end the world, and then he like because we know he also wants to go to this shadow realm and exist alongside like Heine or something. So I guess maybe he wants to end the human world and then just go off and exist in this realm.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really clear as to why. There's no explanation as to why he suddenly wants to do this. But yeah, it's pretty much his goal is like he wanted to lure Ushio in particular into the shadow realm so he can extract the eye from her and then use it for himself to completely destroy the world. and
Mhm.
so once Shide reemerges, like I said, what happens is like they bring in like what was it those were B-29 World War II planes and
Yeah.
start. It's pretty much like it's like reenacting the whole World War II scenario uh, with those B-29s, pretty much bombing the island.
Yeah. And of course, like Ushio can puts up a barrier with her hair to protect everybody from the bombs. Um, but there's some damage that's inflicted on her because her shadow is technically like outside the barrier.
Mhm.
And Heine just asks if Shide or not Shide, Shinpei like trusts her, and she basically like helps them by I guess stopping time for a bit so that it would allow Ushio to get to Shide and try to stop him.
Yeah. So eventually, like, Ushio does manage to launch herself up to where Shide is, and eventually they do engage in battle, which I would say like the animation, for this sequence is pretty well done in my opinion.
Mhm.
And of course they do engage in battle on top of that bomber, and it gets to the point where Ushio does end up getting injured, and Shide is like almost has the eye in his grasp, but Ushio manages to, I guess, reconstitute herself, but now she's at the form of a younger child now.
Yeah, I couldn't like it looked that way, and I wasn't sure if that was intentional. Like it looked like she was, but that it was not very clear. I guess that's what happened.
I think it has more to do is like how much damage that Shide inflicted on her. If you remember, like in the earlier episodes, like Ushio her hair ended up being shorter because of the amount of damage she took prior. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing the reason why why she physically looks younger than before is because the amount of damage she took from Shide at this point.
Yeah, I guess it can do that. I mean, I guess if it'll make her hair shorter, I suppose it also like makes that happen too.
Mhm. Yeah, and of course, Ushio doesn't have the only way for her to get herself back to her normal teenage form is to go nearby her original form, but unfortunately they're nowhere near that. So eventually Ushio finds out that the actual Shide is not really in the Shadow Realm, but he's actually remotely controlling this version of Shide from the human realm.
Yeah. Yeah, she ends up inflicting some damage on him, like I guess like half of his body is left or something. And I think that's pretty much where we leave off in the episode.
Yeah, it's well, she does destroy Shide's armor, but the reason why she was able to find out that Shide's not there is because the armor is empty inside. So because that's the reason why she was able to find out. But yeah, like you said, the episode kind of cuts off with her falling from the bomber, and that's where we leave off from there.
I am a little bit confused. So like, if he's controlling it remotely from the real world, like didn't they already like kill two of him? Or is there like another one? Because
I think there's another one. I think because we don't even know how many different different corpses or different bodies of his prior selves he's manages to
maybe it will
know.
be that whole thing where they just have to destroy all of his bodies or something so that he can't come back.
But yeah, so that's pretty much where we leave off from the episode. It kind of ended abruptly at that point in time, but we have at least 2 more episodes left, and it's pretty much really close to the end right now.
Yeah, this is probably one of the crazier episodes. I mean, I thought the last one was pretty insane, but this one it went some places I wasn't really like. I was like kind of just like, especially when those bombers showed up at first, I was really really confused. But then they, of course, like it kind of made sense when they explained why that was happening. But it just it's just and of course the fact that Shide is just standing on a plane and they're having to go, get all the way up to him just to fight him. It's yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like but yeah, I definitely, it's definitely entertaining to say the least. But I don't really have too much else to say about the episode. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
It was a good episode, but like I said, it kind of ended abruptly right then and there. It almost felt like it went by pretty fast too. But yeah, we still got 2 more episodes, and we'll get to see how they're gonna end up concluding the series.
Yeah, I really have. I mean, I don't really have any guesses as to how this is going to conclude at this point, considering how many, just how crazy this is getting. I'm not. I have some. I mean, well, I guess I do really have some guesses, but I mean, who knows with this series? It could just be completely different than what you're expecting. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, that all being said, guys. Until next time, we will see you all later.